Well, I'm proud I could educate you on some of the craziness in the world, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So,
Guida. Get you.
What was
Guida.
his first name again?
I don't think he had one.
Of course he had one. I'll have to look it up.
Now fighting we go.
Clay, I think it was Clay. Clay Guida.
Oh, sure.
I think it was Clay.
Yeah.
I think I heard him call that. That guy's a nut.
He could
He'd come in that corner.
mold you like clay.
I don't know if he looks like that in all his fights, but
I think he probably ripped an 8-ball cocaine before every one of his fights.
know what I mean?
You could get disqualified for like false starting, he would be it.
I wonder if that's a thing in the UFC. False start. 15-yard penalty.
You don't get back to your damn corner. And you still got a little on your nose.
For the people watching, this is
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
It was a long Thursday.
Oh, Lord. I'm about to edit all this out. We stumbled on a YouTube video of a UFC fight. We were watching some of the most interesting fights of all time. I don't even remember who he was fighting. The other guy won, but all we remember is the guy looked like a caveman with hair everywhere.
If you put me in the ring with him, I'd be like, nah, I'm out.
Just the intensity. Like, you could see his face. Hair was everywhere.
That's
I think it was growing out of his eyes.
Like,
that's what I meant by it. I don't think he looks like that in all his fights. I've seen him in some others where he has long hair, but it's like back. This was like everywhere. He looked like that guy from the
he straight up rolled the rock out of the way and came out of the cave, bro.
I wish I could remember who he was fighting.
Oh,
somebody else could look it up.
Obviously, it doesn't matter.
Oh, gosh. So I was preparing for our Bible study, which sometimes we do in the morning. Well, we always do. We don't always record it. And when we don't record, we try to study another area so we don't leave people behind in our study. But
Right.
I think we're in Acts 5 or 6, somewhere in there. We'll look in a minute. But we're enjoying our breakfast, and Clay come out. Clay, not Clay. Cole come out of the room talking about. Said he had nightmares about Clay Guida. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Had to get the ring with him.
Next time you know, I got a perm.
Oh my gosh.
He did have some
I'll eat this piece of sausage. We're gonna look at our Bible.
We can ease on into that. I'll just keep.
I gotta edit this thing, man. Ain't nobody gonna watch us eat.
I mean, what else do you do on Friday mornings?
Like I said, it's every morning, but we just don't always record. We ought to, man. We have a lot of fun. We ought to record everything we do.
Just don't look at the camera.
Oh Lord, I'm glad we don't record everything we do. You come through here and nothing but a towel.
I know.
Going to the laundry room. In fact, you can probably hear that in the background.
You wouldn't know what hit you when that email come through that said your account got reported.
Cole's how we got to do laundry at 5 o'clock in the morning, so you know.
Yeah. I start about 3.
You don't.
No.
What time is it? Oh, it's after 6. We gotta get moving. All right, so
We're gonna be late.
yeah. Well, we already prayed this morning, and we've already kind of started running late. So we'll make this short and sweet and to the point.
Let's do, baby.
Does anybody watch this channel?
We got a lot of followers, I heard.
No, you didn't. Did you really?
I don't like looking them in the eyes.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I think we left off somewhere in chapter 5 because they died. Yeah, that's right. All right, verse 12. Chapter 5, verse 12 of Acts. And remember, a couple people died there at the doorway of the church because they lied to the Holy Spirit. Y'all remember that. Anyway, by the...
Refresh me, though, it was
So,
a male and a female.
Ananias and Sapphira, a married couple, sold some property. And it wasn't wrong to sell the property, it wasn't wrong to have the property, it wasn't wrong to have the money from the property. What was wrong was, I said, oh, we sold it for $100,000
Yeah.
when it really sold it for $200,000.
It's like the scene in the Goonies when he pulls the pearl out of the dude's mouth and it keeps coming.
You know what's funny about that? As many movies as I've quoted and asked you about, hey, have you seen that, have you seen that, have you seen that? And I know there's some age difference between us. Cole don't watch TV.
No.
And 90% of the time, he ain't seen nothing I'm talking about. And then you want to pull out a Goonies reference?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me you'd seen the Goonies?
I grew up on the Goonies.
Oh my gosh.
Man,
I grew up on the
Truffle
Goonies.
Shuffle?
Back
Come on, do it. Do it. I'm not doing it.
Okay, back to the Bible. I was catching you up
Yeah, sorry.
on the property. So
I don't have any breaks right now.
having too much fun for Friday morning.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's Saturday, man. You weren't tuned in.
I don't want to go to Houston anymore. I'll stay with you.
I ain't going to H-Town.
No, I just want to see what happens on Saturday. Oh goodness. You know I gotta stop by here before I head out. But anyway, so after these man and woman died, not because there's something wrong with having money, but because they lied about it and tried to make out like, oh, we gave you everything. Everything we got out of this land. Here you go. And see, people do that. They go to church and they try to be somebody they're not, try to fake their way through. When all God ever asked you to do is be all you can be. Be, for Him. Be real. Be 100%.
Well, the whole thing is
He knows. Anyway, eat. I'll talk.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Give me the mic. Give me the mic.
I'm kidding. What were you gonna say? The whole thing is what? We've only read one verse.
I know. But you said something that I was reading on last night.
Another Goonies reference.
No. Nope.
All right.
Yeah, in the Book of Sloth. But
First Hesitations, chapter 3.
yeah.
This one. Why are you talking?
Who did they think they were fooling?
That's the problem.
That's what it gets me.
Well, who do we think we're fooling today?
I don't want to say you idiots, but I mean, like, come on, guys.
The church today is the same way.
You're living in a time, and like this is what I've been starting to do when I like study the Bible is try and place myself in that time period, and just it's like night and day from today. And so I mean, people, you goof around and you don't tell the truth. Like you think that's gonna,
You think
hopefully
you're
you
getting
don't
ahead.
lose your life. Next thing you know,
Oh, it happens
bam,
at
you're
work.
done.
I've seen people like make a mistake on something we're working on, and then find a way to build a customer and say, "Well, it was like it," because they want to eat it. They don't want to eat the cost. It's about profit. It's about money. It's about
Because you're
greed.
going too fast and you goofed up.
Well,
or whatever it is.
Dumb butt to start with.
Well, and when people do that, sorry, I'm commenting on everything, but when
All right,
people do that, they
Don't apologize.
there's
Just-
you're not just telling me, you're
don't
not
think-
just struggling with the truth in one area of your life. I promise you that.
That's right. Don't apologize for anything you do. I don't think anybody's watching me say anything. But I hope so. I hope they get something out of it. All right, after they died, by the hands of the apostles were many signs and wonders wrought among the people, and they were all with one accord in Solomon's porch. That's an area of the temple, which, funny, people don't realize this. We're in verse 12. Check this out. And this is kind of a side note, but I want to point it out. This is not Solomon's temple, right? It couldn't be. It couldn't be. Solomon's temple was destroyed by the Babylonians in like 606 BC, because they started invading in 586, and there was three waves, and that last wave, all right, that's it, we're done. It's like somewhere around 606 BC. BC, we don't say that BCE stuff. Before Christ, 606 years before Christ. No, I'm sorry, I'm backwards. Excuse me, forgive me. Time works backwards back then. 606 BC was the first time, between 606 and 605, and in 586 BC, excuse me. 586 years before Christ, they came in, the Babylonians, and razed the temple, R-A-Z-E-D, meaning they didn't raise it, they razed it. It's gone. So this isn't even Solomon's temple. This is, they call it Herod's temple, and it's not. It was actually built by, is it Zerubbabel? I don't know. Anyway, it was built by Nehemiah, Ezra, Zerubbabel, Haggai, Zechariah. They were all around at the time. So they got it all built, and I think they call it Zerubbabel's because he was the priest at the time. Regardless, Herod comes along, dolls it up, puts a little gold here, a little silver there, paints it, makes it real nice. Everybody calls it Herod's temple. It was never as nice as Solomon's. So I never caught that before. I've read this my whole life. And it says they're all together with one accord in Solomon's porch. I don't know if I need to look that up. What area of the temple that is, or could even be, a remnant of his old palace. Because Solomon had a palace at one time that may have been destroyed too. I need to look that up, because I've always assumed it's a temple. I really don't know. And I'll tell y'all I don't know. I'm not going to act like I know something I don't know. Verse 13, and of the rest durst no man join himself to them, but the people magnified them. What that means is, and that's the reason the Lord doesn't give those powers necessarily the same way today. Same powers available, but in different ways, different times and places. The apostolic power was never really bestowed upon anybody collectively that way again. Meaning, Jesus had the power to do all things he did in his ministry. Mm-hmm. They were able to do it because they walked with him and he gave that to them. After they died, the power of the Lord still does mighty, wonderful things, but it's more spread out and few and far between. This Benny Hinn stuff ain't real. These,
Wait, what was that reference? Benny Hinn?
Benny Hinn. These guys who get up and, the power of God, wow, they shove you and you fall down and then you get up, I ain't lame no more. If that was real, they'd be in every children's hospital in the world. They'd be down there with the cancer patients helping people. So that ain't real. You got to go to a tent service, pay a bunch of money, and then put on a big show, and then, I feel great. And then the next day you wake up, what happened? That's another day, another dollar. And
I've heard of those. I've never been to one.
Well, got better things to do with my time. But I've seen them on TV. Oral Roberts, another one.
I saw you with it too.
A bunch of those fake guys. They made a movie about it. Steve Martin was in a movie making fun of that kind. Not really making fun, but I'm getting off track. But verse 13 is talking about they didn't really join themselves to them. There was a separation there. Those were the apostles. They could do things Jesus could do. These other folks, they didn't feel like they belonged there. And the lesson I get from that is there should be a separation between God's people and the world. But it says the people magnified them. That's not necessarily a good thing. Because when you magnify somebody, they get an ego. When they get an ego, it stops being about God, it starts being about you. That's something else that's a danger to us
Not
today.
every time you magnify somebody.
Well, no, it can be done in an humble way, and that's why verse 14 says, and believers were the more added to the Lord multitudes, both of men and women, insomuch that they brought forth the sick in the streets and laid them on beds and couches, that at the least the shadow of Peter passing by might overshadow some of them. This is why God don't give us that today, because you'll begin to magnify Peter, and they did. They call him the first pope, and he was not the first pope. Don't get me started. We'll make all Catholics mad.
Oh, me dog.
Anyway,
that's all coming together now. Okay.
Anyway, so
St. Pete's.
I'd really like to keep going, but because I like to get as deep as we can. We've goofed off so much today. I'll get into a whole other subject if I do that. I will say verse 17 is of particular interest to me, but we'll come back to that. For the lesson I've got for today, besides the Goonies reference, which I really enjoyed, what I get out of this, just to kind of find a stopping point here, is, after you saw the power of God fall on the church, 2,000, was it 2 or 3? 3,000 people got saved on the day of Pentecost. That's Acts chapter 2. We talked about that. 5,000 people yes it is. 5,000 people got saved at the beautiful gate at the temple when the man asking for alms was healed. The lame man got healed. And so there's 8,000 people have gotten saved. Most of them probably stuck around, became members of the church. Not all of them. Some of them went home. They were there for the feast. Mm-hmm. But then it says the Lord continued to work through these after, you kind of have that little interruption there where these 2 people died. And so the people saw the power of God in a positive way, people getting saved. And then they saw the power of God in what you would call, or I would call, a negative way, where a couple people died because they lied. And then he goes right back to doing good and wonderful things through these men. And so
everybody who sees God in a negative way, in my opinion on that deal, you see God in a negative way on both those occasions, not as small-minded as they come.
Well, that was an unfortunate wording.
And I don't want to say it like that, because putting myself there at that time, anybody that saw it like that, I just want to understand, what makes you have that opinion? Why?
Because I saw a couple people die. They're like, ooh, gosh. Man, don't make God, man. He'll drop you. Which I understand. But
you're quick to judge, you idiot. Don't be quick to judge. Ask questions. That's what gets me, is everybody's just, bah, 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 bah.
Funny you bring that up. I didn't tell you what happened at work yesterday when the guy I'm talking about was cussing and railing and flipping out on this coworker of mine. And I went to his defense, kind of in a meeker way that I normally would, because I'm trying to change some of my bad habits. I was like, why are you going to him like that? There was no reason to do that. He's not even the one you're mad at. You assume because you saw him in the general vicinity that he did what you're mad at. He didn't even do it. He stumbled on that situation too. The guy who did it's already left for the day, and you just jumped that guy for nothing. He said, well, I'm not going to apologize. If he can't take a chewing, then he needs to man up. I got chewed up when I was growing up. I mean, he just... Anyway, how did I get on that? Oh, ask. I said the same thing. You were talking about ask what's going on. Get the context. He didn't one time say, hey, how did this come to be? Who did this? Why did this happen? And then go after the right one. He's not a boss. He just works in a different department.
Does he lose his marbles a lot?
I don't really hang out with him a lot, but he does cuss a lot. I mean, he uses a lot of vulgarity in his language. And I mean, we all use some, but that's like, I'm a Christian. I still
it's
say
one
words.
thing to lose your marbles and just have a freak incident like that, and then come up on a situation and happenstance somebody gets ripped for it. But the more chewings you take over time, the better. The more character you have. But at the same time, the older you get, you should know when you have them coming and when you don't, and when you're in the middle of one you don't deserve. I feel like you should obviously have the courage to be like, hold on, let me get the facts straight here. You're yelling at me because why again? I just want to understand why I'm getting yelled at. Like, that's the way I function, because I have been in that position where
I don't want the Fish City to come at me like that. No offense, God forgive me. I'm not a.
There's pipe in that building that I revert toward, but anyway.
I'm not a violent person, but you come at me wrong, I'm liable to go swinging. I don't know what I'd do.
I do watch UFC.
We do watch Guida. So you'll come full circle back to our original topic.
I will get in the ring.
We'll go Guida on you. No, it was unfortunate, but the point I was making, and I went.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Continue.
You didn't. I went way off track. I didn't mean negatively. I just meant you see the power of God doing good and wonderful things. People are getting saved. You see the power of God take out a couple people who are hindering that. That'd be my fear. Get in God's way when He's doing something good. He's liable to move you or take you out. Not because He doesn't love you. They went to heaven. Then you went early. He punched your ticket, buddy, about the pool. So, anyway.
Wristbands and all. Get out.
Hey, I got to close this.
Right and left.
God forgive me. I got to close this.
Everybody out the pool.
There's only two reasons somebody come along and say, all right, it'll be out the pool.
Yeah.
One, you wasn't watching the clock and it closed. The other, somebody pooped.
Yep, there's a floater. Shallow end.
Listen, when that happens, you want to get out the pool. Listen, I said that to say this. America's got a floater. This country,
it's floating right up in the New England area.
No, it's all the way down here. Local. They had a Burning Man thing in this area when I moved here. The year I moved here, they had a Burning Man thing, which is just straight.
What's that?
Yeah, that's what I said. Right there off 713, they had this festival where they burn this image of a man, and they have this big pagan party, and it's basically like Woodstock, but without the Woodstock type of deal.
Okay.
It's bands, it's half-naked people, it's ignorance and reveling and drugs, and I don't even want to get into it. But that happened here, not in New England. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, it's time, and the Lord's coming soon, and y'all need to prepare for that. But in the meantime, what I took away from this...
Stay close to the edge.
Yeah, what I took away from this is God's working through His people in so much that's drawing the people to them, and there is some separation. There's this understanding God's at work over here. We're with Him on His side, or we're back over here being the ones drawn in, or with the world out yonder. But you need to figure out where you're at and get busy for the Lord.
Don't be lukewarm. Don't be a free floater. Stand your...
There's nothing wrong with having a good time, especially on a Friday morning like this one. But we do need to get serious about how we serve the Lord, and we need to be sincere in it. And I pray y'all do just that. Well, I've about said all I can think of to say without going longer. This video's so long, no one's going to watch it now. You got anything to add? Oh, by the way, Clay, Guida or not, if you're going to beat up women and not go to jail for assault, you got to join the Olympics and change your gender, because you got to mention something about current events. That's how people will know when we did the video, because all they know is when it got posted. They don't know if it was fresh or if it was 10 years old when it got posted. That whole deal with those Olympics, y'all just... I don't watch the Olympics. I heard the news. But yeah, that ain't worth looking at.
What was the whole preview about too?
What do you mean?
Have they ever done anything similar to what they
You
did this
mean
year?
mocking
Yeah.
the Lord's Supper? I don't know.
Was that supposed to be like the opening ceremony or something like that?
It's because in France, they're considered this culture, that's artistic, and the Renaissance.
Is there a lot of gay individuals in France?
Man, I've never been, but I'll say this:
I'm just curious.
There's a lot of gay individuals everywhere. You don't
Right.
think there are, but there are. You run
That's
across
why
them.
we live in Harwood.
Now you scared where our location. They're gonna drop a bomb right on.
78632.
Cause we got to edit
Not
it
the
all.
zip code.
All right, we're gonna sign off for today. We'll try to do some more of this a little more often. I hope you enjoyed some part of that. If you didn't, well,
I have some
you're
French toast
entire-
you can help me eat.
well, he get
6 pieces deep.
Did I give you? I'm sorry. I gave you
Yeah,
food.
you gave me a loaf.
All right. God bless you. Have a good day.
Guida.